de encontrar. Soy así, ya es muy tarde para cambiar. Yo no espero nada, vivo sin rumbo. Solo quiero amar cada segundo. Soy aquel.
Welcome back, everybody, to the A Little Less Fear podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lino Martinez, and today I'm super duper excited to introduce Christel Rosenkilde Christensen. She's an author and psychic medium bringing messages for the global collective in political climate. She is a television host of the TV streaming show The New World Oracle, The Magic of Elite Consciousness. Christel is a spiritual guide who became a preferred advisor and mentor for the progressive conscious elite with clients in more than 30 countries around the world. Conscious top performance and leadership expert Christel has promoted conscious leadership in almost 2 decades to improve lives, to enhance conscious top performance, and to ignite wisdom and a positive force for change in the individual and in us all for a better world now and for future generations. She is the author of the book, The Treasure, How to Change the World, Energistic Leadership, as a visionary agent for change, and is in the book Demystifying Mediumship by Carrie Elderuccio. Welcome to A Little Less Fear podcast. So nice to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Dr. Lino. I look forward to have a beautiful conversation.
Really looking forward to it. And the most amazing thing is that you're all the way in Denmark. I mean, you're what, 12 hours ahead of me, something like that, almost 10 hours ahead of me. But yet you're able to feel the political climate going on in a whole other country because of this ability that you've had since you were born, which is being able to tap into the most intuitive part of your mind, body, soul, and spirit. And with that, you're able to bring healing messages globally. Is this correct?
Yes, it is. And it's such a privilege and such a humbling task. Many people hear it as it's such a, I'm doing this, I'm traveling around the world and working with these amazing people. But it's truly humbling and such an honor as much as being on your show, because it's people like you and all of my clients who truly do change the world. So yeah.
Christel, you mentioned the word task right now and that you're humbled to have this task. When I think of a task, I think of it almost as if something that I have to do to get something done. Sometimes it feels that it's part of a life mission, and sometimes I'm personally not sure if I'm following a life mission. Do you feel that this task at hand in which you are a voice for global peace, how do you feel that this is in relation to your life mission, or is it a path that's being unfolded as you come along?
It's a very good question, and thank you for that, because it's again back to the humbleness of being a human.
Yes.
I was born into this world with the ability to sense energies. So, and I thought everybody else had the same gift, that they saw the same things, that they saw the answers, solutions, and saw how everybody else around them felt and then how their energies were. Mm-hmm. So to me, it was always about giving energy, being an energy that could assist the people around me and to create harmony, and to also for myself to be in a space and be around people where I felt at peace, where I felt but also invigorated and empowered, because I always felt that I was able to do anything I wanted to. Yes. And so how I felt as a child and how I grew up in a world where I was seeing and sensing more and more struggle, more and more disharmony as I grew up. Coming out of the bubble of childhood and teenage years and traveling into the world with my studies and work. First, I thought so many people were mean, were evil people. Then when I saw them, when I got into global business, I was in shock how amazing visionaries could make decisions that was crushing people and great opportunities, to only realize at 26 that these were amazing individuals, with many of them with the best of hearts, that truly wanted to create something that mattered. But they
Yes.
didn't see energy, they didn't sense energy, they didn't see the bigger picture the way I did. So they didn't see they were crushing other people. They didn't see that there were other solutions. They didn't see other ways than mainstream business or mainstream performance, the way we did in the old age, old age, 20 years, 40 years back. And many are still following that. Also in families, it's not only in business and performance, but in families, at institutions for educations, global institutions, we are still following rules, we're still following structures, we're still allowing ourselves to be according to something that was created in a very different world than what it is now and what we're moving into. So to me, to answer that question is that I grew with my life mission, and only as 28 years of age, I had an epiphany, and in a meditation, I've meditated since I was 11, but in a meditation as 28 years old, out like auto writing, like being in the meditative state, trance state, I started writing the concept Energistic Leadership. And I was literally writing out a concept for people in top performance to understand energy, to understand their incredible capacity, but also
Yes.
responsibility to create something, not only amazing results, but results that would lift the entire stakeholder chain. And then I think that's the first time, Dr. Lino, that I experienced the true calling, that I had to go out there in the world. I had to. I could not, because I've seen human suffering in various ways my entire life, and suddenly I realized people don't realize how to change. They don't even realize that there is something to change. And worst of all, people don't understand their own power.
Right.
And then coming back to the name of your podcast, people are not aware that most of their lives, they're driven by fear.
They sure are.
And when we are driven by fear, our instinct get on overdrive, and then everything we do becomes short-lived. Everything we do is harmful in some ways. I'm of course being very very narrow-minded in that box, but then suddenly everything we do is not life creating, it's life destroying, it's life destruction. So that is where I came from. That was my passion. That was like the bigger vision, was to go in there and try, from my humble part, to eradicate human suffering. And I can't do that. All my clients, they are out there doing it. I can assist and I can uplift and I can assist people and organizations to be their full capacity, but they are the ones, like, you are out there, you are all changing the world for the better. And that's what we can do. Live better lives, create better results, and changing the world for the better once we know how. So that's my passion, that's my mission, that's my calling. So yes, it's a task, but a good one.
It is definitely a task, and I can definitely see how it's a humbling task too, and to be able to tune into that and to feel that people are destroying rather than creating. I love how you said that, life creating instead of destroying, and that is where you needed, there was a need globally. You know, it's also incredible that we were talking before this, and you were talking about how there's a tour that you're doing called Illuminate the World. I have to bring this up now because it's fascinating. Illuminate the World tour online, in which you visit a new country a week, every week, correct?
Every second week, yeah.
Every second week, you visit a new country and you tune into the energies of each country, the resourceful part of the countries, and harness the energy. I have a question about this before we come into talking about the United States' energy. But when you are tuning into different country energies, is it a sense that you get, a feeling that you get with the energies as the collective climate goes? Or do you tune into something specifically to be able to channel in an energy or a message that's meant to be given for their greater good and of everybody involved?
To begin with, being an academic and always working in optimizing things, I thought that when I was tuning in, what I would get was very specific intelligence data about the countries, what we needed to know, how we could harness, the countries also, how they could change for the better. But then when I started to tune in to the essence of the country, when I sat and meditated and asked I always ask for connecting to the highest source of life in the universe to be giving me access and information for the people that I invited in to for them to be illuminated with the energy of the country so that they can be empowered in their personal leadership and in their lives, in their results, and in their impact in the world. And then suddenly, as I first started in India, it gave small imageries of amazing things about India, but it also tuned into the capacity of that country. And then,
incredible.
So now I've done 2 countries. Actually, my next country next week is the US. And the second one was Australia, and it was very different. But then the first half hour is about tuning into the energies and the information that that we are meant to touch upon. Then there's the second half that became guided meditations where we tune in and tap into the energy. So everybody who is listening in, they will be able to sense the energy of the countries themselves and feel empowered with the energy of that country, being connected. And there'll be, I will pull some of my visionary guidance cards for the specific country and the experience. So so it became a true empowerment, connecting to each country people are listening in about or with, if you can say so. And I realized that this tour is truly a tool for people to feel connected as a world and feel that every country is a part of the bigger picture. Every country is a part of us. We are not separate. We are one world.
Yes.
And this is, so if we can truly tap into that knowledge and feel it, we will all be stronger. So I'm only in the very beginning, but but it has been inspiring already, and it's for free. It's for everybody to tune into, no matter where people are in the world. And it will be on YouTube. It's a playlist called Illuminate the World Tour on my YouTube, Christel Rosenkilde Christensen. So I invite everybody who is listening in to join me.
This is absolutely incredible. Tapping into the feeling of one world, because we're one Earth. We are here collectively together to share the same Earth, to live on the same planet. We have equal resources all around us. And whenever we are divided and we're seeing each other separate, we're not sharing, we're not really fully connecting with one another.
We're operating out of fear.
Operating out of fear. Mm-hmm. That is true. And when there's fear, there's blockages, and there's a lack of intuition when there's fear.
Yes. There's little or no wisdom left. So I love it. Absolutely. A little less fear will change the world.
Yeah, a little less fear will open up your heart a little more and remove some of those blockages. You know, what's really interesting is, so next week you will be tuning into the energy of the United States, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever tuned into the energy of the United States before?
Oh, yes, I have. I have loved working in the US with clients, but I also myself love to visit. So not only have I loved to be in the US, but it's also always been a pointer for me, because for a very long time, to me, now I'm talking from my standpoint. So for me, it has always been, the US has been almost the words of the leader of a free world. At least from, I'm from Denmark. I'm born in the Western world, but that has kind of been my sense has always been that the US is an amazing driver for positive change. And so that's why I've always been fascinated, because in the US, not even the sky is the limit.
Right.
And when I've traveled in the US, I've always been fascinated by the commitment from so many people to do charity. Many of the television programs that I have loved. I'm a sucker for the television programs in the US where people go out there and build homes for people that have done something nice for the community.
Oh yeah, I love
or
that.
in need, or I just love how the giving back factor is such a big part of the American culture, and you have Thanksgiving as a national holiday.
Yes.
So, and now, of course, every country has a positive and a negative, or maybe not even positive or negative, but there is more light and there's more darkness when we tune into different topics.
Sure.
So for me, when I was first introduced to you, Dr. Lino, I had, when I was writing you an email, I wanted to make it very brief, and so I was very happy to be invited into the show. But then this long email came out about the fact that fear is destroying the health of a country. And
yes, absolutely.
when there's an election, or when we talk about politics, it can drive separation and drive fear and the illusion of separation to an extent that an energy of a country can change.
Yes.
And can almost bring trauma, like trigger a trauma that's underlying in the US. Because, and please do not get me wrong, there is no judgment here. We all, like, if we look at the history of the world, this is how the world was built in many ways. So now we're just talking about the US. And what came to me was that people from around the world traveled to this place in the world where they were told that they could find gold, and it was, you know, they could go to that place in the world and they could make their dream come true. Yes. So people from all parts of the world came to what is now the US.
Yes.
And joined forces. And they built cities, they built a country that is now the United States of America, which is a melting pot of cultures and
diversity. Oh yeah.
So and then even nature-wise, you have everything. You know, in the US, extremes of everything, and you have the middle of everything. You have such a beautiful variety. But the trauma that lies as well is that people came and killed and took away from the people who inhabited the place already. So the land carries trauma of division, and the land carries trauma of when newcomers come in, when something different come in, it kills us.
Right.
So that when I'm tuning into this energy about the US, and please hear me, I'm from Denmark, I'm not American. I'm not trying to talk about history as what's good and bad. I'm just saying there's a trauma that can be triggered when extreme polarities, please correct me if my vocabulary is wrong, but Danish is my first language.
It's excellent.
Thank you. So and this is around the world at the moment, we see a very polarized world. So of course that's in the US as well. So when we then have an election, people, if if it's run by fear, and we've just had COVID, we've just had many other things. So there is a lot in the world that has just frightened people and that has just shocked people. So it's very easy to stir and create more fear.
Yes.
And when we are attacking one another in political debates, when it's about attacking, then what happens not only to the people in the room of attacking and being attacked, but also the viewers. And when people have a feeling of being attacked, people go into survival mode, pure and raw instinct. And now, if we then go back to the trauma that's triggered, the underlying trauma of the foundation of your country, then everybody, of course, believe the illusion that we are separate and that we have to avoid something that feels different to us. So we have the task, not only in the US, but around the world. And I'm breathing to get back into my intuition, back into being in touch with the intuitive, the wisdom-driven energy, the wisdom-driven part of us all.
Yes.
Because that's key when our instinct is allowed to be on overdrive. It is purely trauma-driven action, trauma-driven thoughts, choices, and actions and communication that shatters a country. So not only can there be an election, but then it takes a long time to rebuild mutual trust, to rebuild even just the trust in ourselves that we will make the right choice. So in elections, when trauma is triggered, sometimes a lot of people will say, well, I'm not even voting because do I really trust any of the people in front of me? There is not somebody who is ideal according to my instinct.
Your gut instinct, right?
Yeah. And that doesn't matter if we're in extreme left or right or in the middle. Then when we're in our gut feeling, when we're in our overcompensated instinct, then we will push away anything and we won't even vote. We'll vote blank. Or we will be aggressive. We'll start fighting in the streets. We'll start fighting each other. We'll start fighting in families, in friendships, in job situations.
Right.
And that has never been the foundation of health. It has never been the foundation of a sustainable future. It has never been the foundation for greatness.
What is the foundation for greatness and a sustainable future?
The foundation for greatness has always been wisdom. It has always been when we are aligned, when we're in tune with the essence of humanity, the essence of life itself, when we are in tune with the entire universal divinity. I call it divinity. Some people call it the universe, energy, God, Allah. It's all about, to me, it's about the ultimate source for life. And when we're in tune with that, our intuition and our instinct are intertwined in perfect harmony. So the instinct, that is the past experience, and our intuition guides towards the future. So we are using what we have learned as we're creating a new and better world.
Absolutely love this. I absolutely love what you said right here, Christel. I love it. The foundation for greatness is wisdom. When we are tuned into that essence, universal divinity or Allah, God, universal energy, however you want to title it, the ultimate source for life. When we are in tuned with our intuition and instinct is in harmony, and that guides our future. I love how you said that. Intuition and instinct becomes harmonized, And that is where I feel there's a major disruption between instinct and intuition.
Absolutely, because both is good, but only intuition, that leads us creating nothing. And with only instinct, it's gonna drive us into fighting and building greed, building fences, building separation. But when the two are together, we're truly building on a foundation of experience, but also of a foundation of wisdom. And that is where, I'm sorry, but that is where the US is amazing. Because when I work with Americans and we talk about faith and we talk about tuning into that which is greater than themselves and learning and applying that energetic energy methods that I teach, I see people, no matter what age, in executive groups and athletes or entrepreneurs. I just see people connecting with their faith and opening their hearts to a greatness. And what is that word in English? They get so opposite of self-serving. They truly wish to create greatness, not just for themselves, but for everyone around them. That's incredible with Americans, the ones I've been exposed to, obviously.
Yes.
But once they become aware that when we are in alignment, when we are creating from that space where we are guided to create, because we are meant to live amazing lives as individuals. We are meant to have great results. We are meant to go through challenges with our head held high and still feeling some sort of well-being. We are meant to impact the world in a positive way for future generations, whether we are talking about parenthood, friendships, work colleagues, management and leadership, or national or global leadership. Doesn't matter. We are meant to have all these factors, self and greatness and sharing it with the world. We are meant to be in that scope. And if anyone in this world, I truly tell you, I've been amazed when I work with Americans. They just allow themselves to unfold greatness that also benefit the good of others. And that is in my opinion, the only way forward. And it's just about knowing how. And that is back to how my mission got started. I realized that people just don't see energy and see the world and see the bigger picture and how to put it together in a way that create that magic that everybody holds within themselves. And that's also why, yeah, pardon?
Yeah, thank you, Christel. This is really illuminating. I mean, I'm feeling really, really illuminated by this. Thank you so much. And so, in a country right now where we obviously we're very much divided still at the moment, and where a lot of people are feeling the fear, and in the fear of even not knowing who to vote for. I mean, what kind of vision do you have for people individually in which they can proclaim their own power and really tune in to what's best for themselves individually and for the whole of a country? How can someone know who is the best candidate for us collectively?
To answer that, I have to break it up in a few small answers. But the first is to, in this very moment, as you hear my voice, remember breathing and deciding to let go of trauma is the first step in any trauma anybody may hold. So if we can cancel, clear, delete the trauma that is the underlying trauma in the US for how it got founded, not forgetting what happened, but to say, I'm here for a greater good, so I release the trauma. The US is here in the world. US could be in the world for a greater good if we all release the trauma, if we decided to move forward in life creation. And as an individual, we hold more power than we ever dare to believe. So if one person even starts thinking like this, letting go of that trauma, letting go of all of our traumas. It's easier said than done. That's a lot of work, but cancel, clear, delete. That's a first step. The second step is, and I would like just to read the sentence that Steve Killalea, who is the founder of the Global Peace Index and the Institute for Economics and Peace.
Thank you.
When I met him, we had a conversation very briefly. He was publishing one of his peace indexes. So I spoke to him very briefly over glass, and he said, because I was talking about how I see energy, and he said to me, we have to research and study peace instead of conflict if we want peace. And when he said that, when I talked about energy, is what we focus on is what we become.
Yes.
And so that is a part of in chapter 8 in my book, talking about the awareness of the energistic strength of focus to change the world. So if the second thing we can remember is, if we want to have change, we have to focus on what we want. We have to hold on to hope. We have to hold on to our faith. We have to focus on a better world. And the world only becomes better if everybody gets better. And that's a part of the Peace Index, the Global Peace Index, that him and his people have, and they have done extensive research throughout the world. And one of the findings of his work, he established academic foundation and proof that societies where the quality of life amongst as many people as possible, there is less crime, there is less teen pregnancies, there are less insecurity, there is a greater foundation for better lives for all. And I'm not advocating for like talking about politics right now, but I come from a country where I know nobody who has a gun. Like, I really don't know anybody who has a gun. Because what on earth would we use that gun for? The only thing we would fear was, what if our children find us and kill each other in a game of fun? And so when we hear about gun control or thoughts about gun control in the US, it is just, we don't understand the conversation, because we don't have a need for it. Because we don't have the same experiences, we don't have the same rate of crime, so we don't have a need to protect ourselves. And I'm not saying we don't have crime, but it's just not something that we could even think could happen to us, or that we would need that gun. And we pay 50%, 60%, depending on how much we earn, of our salary in taxes. We have free schooling, we have free medical help for everybody. We try to create a system where as many people as possible are covered, and the quality of life is above a certain standard of quality of life. I'm not saying ours is better, because there are limitations to that as well. Sure. I'm just saying that what he has discovered, and I have a small piece of it in my book, is that it's fundamental that we look at all life equally, and that we treat all people equally, and that we try as much as possible to protect the quality of life for all people, because then we all feel better, we're all safer, and we all have a foundation for a better future. When people feel safe, when people feel calm, when people's nervous system is aligned, and there is a beautiful balance between instinct and intuition, which can only come if we try to eliminate fear, which happens when there is more quality of life for everybody. Then suddenly we become much more in tune with our creativity, with new solutions, and new and better ways will literally come to us. That's in my guidance when I sit with individuals in mentoring, or when I have executive groups, or when I teach, or no matter who I'm with. The guidance that will come through for every individual, company, or nation will always have these factors: is the quality of life of the individual, greater results, and a bigger impact or ripple effect, positive ripple effect in the entire stakeholder chain. So when you ask me about what can we do, it is true to sit and take a deep breath and calm your nervous system. Do that many times a day, or once a day, every day. We can never do that enough. I do that every day in my meditation practices. You can do it on a walk, you can do it in your car. Take a deep breathing. And what I would then say for my part, so this is how I do it. I'm not trying to be missioning here, but I always connect to that which is greater than myself, the highest source of life, as I'm breathing that energy into every part of my being, into every cell, into every atom. And for each breath I take, the calmer I feel. I integrate the divine, I integrate the cosmos into my microcosm, into me as an individual, so that I can apply that into the world that I'm born into now in this physical being. When we're in that space, we are then more capable of tuning into our heart space. What is it that we truly wish to happen in the world around us? What you as voters, now we're talking about voting.
Yes.
What do we truly wish when we are putting our vote? And then at that very moment, there is no doubt people will go and vote, because they will understand that we might not feel that they're ideal candidates. Maybe you do, maybe you know exactly who to vote for. But then you will vote for the person who takes you closest to protecting life across borders, across all life, that will protect life and raise the quality of life of as many people as possible. Because what I love about the US is there is nobody you can vote on that won't protect your economy as well. There's no one you can vote for who will not want they want US to prosper. So you can't vote for anybody, as I see it in this election, that will destroy your economy. On the contrary. So who, when you look at it honestly, will protect all life and raise the quality of life across the board the most, that's the person who will create the safest environment for you all to grow and prosper, to be able to calm the nation's nervous system, your own nervous system. And also, maybe that person, you might not see that person to be all that you wish for, but that person will create the foundation, the stepping stone for the next generation to take over it, and for the next. So truly vote for who, through creating more life, through protecting more life, through truly caring about the quality of life for as many people as possible, because that person you will vote for will then be a stepping stone for the next generation, and a stepping stone for more well-being for you as a voter. And also because then that's the amazing thing, is that we can't vote for one person creating a better world and better lives for us. We're the ones we've been waiting for. So once we've voted, you're voting for the direction for your country. But then after that, when you're connected, when you're breathing, when you have calmed your nervous system and beautifully blended instinct and wisdom, which happens automatically, by the way, with your breathing, with your connectedness, with you being disciplined about creating that space within yourself, then you go and change your life for the better. Then you go and create better results. Then you go through challenges in a more peaceful and a clear-minded way. And then you create a ripple effect of positive change. I know it's a
Absolutely love this. What's that?
sorry for the long answer, but
Oh, it's an excellent. I love this. I mean, I'm just listening to you and just taking notes after notes and just really loving all the energy coming through. And so because the land of the US carries energy, trauma of division, because that is the polarization that began on this country, a lot of people are voting out of trauma, fear, rather than intuition and the combination of the harmonic balance of intuition and instinct. And so when we can actually breathe into ourselves and breathe the divinity that we all are, take some slow breaths and really feel into what we really truly want in our heart for the direction of our country and for the betterment, if that's even a word, betterment, to the better of the world and everybody individually, to raise the quality of life the most, to keep us at our safest environment, and to be able to allow this next person in office to create the foundation for the next, to protect life and as many lives as possible. In order for us to do this, we really have to tune in and also see some of the trauma and cancel and delete a lot of the traumas that are programmed within the consciousness of this country and even our own consciousness, as it is a difficult task to do, but we are able to do, even if you do a little at a time. Coming from your purest sense of self, you are then able to make a more sound decision on the best candidate to vote for. And even if you don't like all the other qualities that they have, it's important to really tune in to the type of the quality that's going to be best for everybody's lives, ultimately for the better of the future generations to come.
yes, exactly. And that's where the power lies, in the people, in each and one of us.
Yes.
Then it becomes beautiful, because then we can only change our lives for the better. Then we can only change the world for the better.
I love how you said that. So the power lies with the people, meaning all of us collectively. And if we can all make one change at a little a time, as you mentioned, there's a ripple effect, a domino effect that becomes contagious. When you raise your vibration, your frequency, everybody around you starts to raise that same vibration and frequency and see the loving arms of the divinity that's welcoming a country to unite us rather than to divide us.
Yes.
Absolutely love this, Christel. What kind of advice can we give to those that and I'm feeling it similar to what we just talked, but people that really don't feel they want to vote. Well, let's say there's the individual said, I've never voted. I always see that things are just getting worse and my vote doesn't count. What's the vote of one person going to do? And what about those type of people that really feel that their voice is not going to be heard if it's just one more or one less?
I even get very tearful when I hear you say this, because I hear you and I truly sympathize with every single person who have seemed to have lost hope and faith in their own ability to drive change, but also in the country and in the world. Because that's easy. But I can only encourage each and every one of you to just take a deep breath and truly allow, if not my words, then just the fact that these words exist out there, maybe not from my mouth, but hopefully from other people that you hear, whether it is in church, a friend, at the street, from a magazine, wherever it may be. You matter more than you know. One vote can make a massive difference, but also even the energy of getting your vibration going, having the thought, making the choice, taking guided, conscious action, deciding to communicate what is the closest towards what you hope for and wish for. That energy alone can create a ripple by everybody in the same neighborhood as you. If you have children, if you have friends, and if some of you that are listening in don't socialize and have social anxiety and afraid of going to vote, can I just encourage you to take action, because there are a world out there that feels like you, whoever is listening and feel this way. You matter more than you know. Nobody who is breathing in this very moment, in this time in history, is without value. You're born into this world to make a difference. And that little step, which can be huge for some people, can I just say that also if they don't feel that any of the people that they can vote for will truly make that difference that they're hoping for, then it feels almost as if they are betraying themselves and the bigger whole by putting a vote for a person that they don't fully support or even do not support. But the thing is, when we do nothing, we support the bad as much as the good. So when we do not get up and vote, we are supporting the darkness as much as the light. Mm-hmm. And we are building more of our own darkness, what I call when we lose faith, when we lose hope, when we think that the world is going in the wrong direction. Imagine a world where everybody got up and voted for the thing that was closest to what they hoped for, that would sustain, protect, and create and drive life. Imagine that world, and each and every one of you getting up is making a difference. There is nothing in this world that does not matter. It's all energy. So if you decide to do nothing, the energy you send into the world is nothing will happen. So you are encouraging nothing to happen. When you stick to nothing will happen if I go vote, that's what you are then going to send out into the world. Energy knows no distance. So who knows who we are discouraging by allowing ourselves to think it makes no difference. So if we take personal responsibility, and I know it can be hard for some, but breathe and pray for if you're praying, or meditate if you're meditating, or if you're doing none of those, then go for a walk or breathe deeply until you feel rejuvenated enough to go and make that difference, because it matters. And not only voting, every thought you think, every choice you make, every action you take, every word you use to apply in your communication makes a difference. It's an energy that is transmuted into the world, that is changing something in your environment and in the world. So please do not think for a second that you don't matter, that you are not worthy of putting your voice out there. Please, whatever you can do, even just for a split second, choose to go either, now we're talking about voting, vote for, but choose everything in life that will support something better. In our private lives, we can all choose to be more healthy. We can all choose to course correct, think better. If we have a negative thought, that's okay. Just change that thought, repeat it, but in a positive way. It's okay if we then don't believe that positive thought, then think it again, a third thought where we are saying, I allow myself to think a positive thought. I may not believe it, maybe I will. In our choices, we can all make bad choices or bad choices. I think it's all destined in some way or another, but we can always course correct. We can always make new choices. We can always change something for the better. And when I talk about elite consciousness, that's not for the elite. That's the fact that we as individuals can apply elite consciousness more and more and more every day, just by choosing to think a little different, choosing to make new choices, choosing to operate in a new way, making a difference, choosing to step up, to be everything that we are meant for. And some people, we talk about margins. Some people that are listening into this, you have already done this for years, and some of you might only get started. no matter where you are, that little change can completely change the course of your life and change the course of our world. We matter more than we know, and we can all make a difference both in our own lives and in the world. So it's with my greatest love and encouragement, but also understanding for those who are stuck in a trauma or hit by a terrible situation in their lives where they don't have the energy. But if you take a deep breath and even just connecting with me just for a split second, I'll send so much healing, support, and strength for everyone needing it to make that change in their lives that is needed. And often it starts by the small things, whether we have worked with this for our entire life or whether we're just beginning. We can all make a massive change with the first new thought, the first new direction.
This is incredible, Christel. I really love this because I mean, I've often heard that so many times throughout my life. Will my vote matter? And you just really painted the picture so beautifully where you matter no matter what. Take personal responsibility. The power lies within you. One vote can make a massive energetic shift, especially if it's making an energetic shift within you. And if you start to really feel that your voice matters, you're going to put that energy out there, and that's going to create that ripple effect, even though you can't see it. But if you have faith and you understand that you matter, that your energy, every single energy that exists is here synchronistically, coincidentally, not coincidentally, but synergistically and synchronistically, and to create a harmonic environment in which we are all meant to be a creator of. And so, because we matter more than what we know, and we're born into this world to make a difference, when we choose to make a difference, when we choose to vote, and we're choosing to sustain, to protect, and to create life, each and every one of us makes a difference because all energy matters. And so it's just really incredible. And I love what you said, how you encourage nothing to happen if you do nothing. If you don't vote, that's what you're encouraging, nothing. And I mean, obviously, we want something, and we want something so bad. That's why some people actually don't vote, because there's something inside them they actually do want. So, what do you want? Put that energy out there of what you do want and create that momentum in order for it to flourish and to build those trees or those seeds that you have planted within yourself.
Yes. And I think if I can say one thing, and where, when we want something so badly and when we have like a certain direction in mind, we can so easily judge those people out there who is actually trying to do something. So we can easily judge them that they haven't found, that they are not exactly where we would want them to be to support them. But sometimes the evolution of our world needs more time. And sometimes those people who are there to fight for what we passionately believe in, they have to be able to work with the world from where it was, where it is, and where it's going. Where we as conscious visionaries who are out there seeing the way, seeing seeing with the heart centered energy, see what it could be, imagine a world if, and why don't they? No. We're there to remind people that there is a future and show the way as way showers. So if people are so passionate, but they don't see that person to vote for, just know that the person that you can vote for may have the ability to work with what was, without judgment, work with what is, and work to create the next steps for that new world that we're so passionate about. So sometimes just look at the people with a different kind of narrative, different kind of perspective, and say, yeah, they're working within the system. To change the system, you have to be able to work with it. And there is a great power, but we also sometimes look from the outside, wanting a very quick change. We need to understand that there's so many layers in a society. There's
Absolutely.
so many people. If you really have to respect the variety of differences, it takes time. And when there's a variety of differences that you need to consider, then you need to be very different than who I am and what other people are, because I would get crossed trying to work from within that system and build a new system, which takes an incredible skill set that we can judge from the outside. But please look at change from, if you are already there, imagine a world, so why don't you? Then no, if you're already seeing that new world, which I have since birth, you have to respect all the layers, and you have to support those who are out there trying to make a change with the system, in the world, building the world step by step. And by that, I'm not saying we can't have quantum leaps and quantum shifts, which we are seeing. We are seeing incredible change. If we look back the last 10 years or 6 years, radical change happened. And we may not see it. Radical acceptance has been growing. That's why polarization is happening. That's because a greater part of the world is accepting with the speed of light. That is pressuring a smaller group to fight back. But it's because the group is getting bigger that is accepting change, accepting greater differences, greater change, that is accepting the newness of the world, because the energy has shifted. So we are on a very heightened frequency of energy that has happened for the last 20 years. That also is an extreme rate of change that we haven't seen as long as history has been recorded. So there's a radical acceptance of change and newness in the world. But because of the polarization, we don't see it, because we're squeezing a growing or a minimized part of people that are then becoming very fearful, very aggressive, and fighting back to hold on to the past.
Back to hold on to what's been keeping their cortisol levels high. Because that's right. Yeah. Because that's what has become the way that they've adapted.
Yes. So opposite to many people that say, oh, the world is just getting worse and worse and worse, I can tell you it's getting better and better and better.
I love
I
this.
traveled the world 1.5 years with a suitcase, drawn only led by my intuition, reminding as many people as possible about how much they mattered. I spoke to homeless people on the beach, film producers in Hollywood. I've been to the bush in Australia talking to Aboriginal leaders. I've been in places I probably shouldn't have with my high heels and my suitcase, just walking and following my intuition, being guided in big cities and rural areas. For 1.5 years, I did not for one single second feel threatened. I never had a night planned. I never knew where to sleep. I stayed at hotels, at people's sofas, at a art gallery. I had heard in my meditation, I had to accept any form of accommodation when people offered, because that would be a very good discussion point. For 1.5 years was I never feeling threatened. And that's a long time traveling as a woman.
It really is.
So I just need to say that we may not see it because we see much more of everything, but we need to truly open our eyes and see why polarization is happening. It's because there's a bigger piece of our population, bigger part of the population of the world that is starting to awaken to this new world and is accepting change and is working, of course, on a tangent, of course, from some more than others. I'm not saying everybody is, but I'm just saying we live in an incredible world and it's worth fighting for. And so, if anybody thought we didn't matter, can you please just hear me? We matter more than we know, and there is hope, and I have faith in every day we're moving towards a better world. So I'm just hoping that each and everyone listening to this show, that they know that they could be co-creators of that better world with a mere breath. With a
Thank
thought.
you, Christel. Wow. Well, I wish voting was tomorrow because I'm feeling like I'm ready to vote now. I have to wait till it's open on November 4th here, but this has been really incredible. So I also understand that you have visionary guidance cards and where you can pull a card and tune into the collective consciousness or the collective unconsciousness of our country as a whole. Are you able to do that for me or for us here on the show?
Yeah, I can do that.
That'd be excellent. Thank you.
And these are some, I call them my treasure visionary guidance cards. I meditated and I allowed myself to write out messages on 42 cards. Excellent. To assist people for a more illuminated life and performance. So these cards can be used for individuals as much as in any sort of performance or any sort of working to enhance life, success, and the world. So the first third showed out to be how can you strengthen your own energy? The next third, how can you apply that illuminated process, apply the awareness of energy into performance. And the last third is about our responsibility and capacity to change the world for the better.
This is excellent.
So I made them kind of like the spiritual way of looking at oracle cards, but I wanted to bring them more into the mainstream world. And so this is how it happens, that I shuffle them and I tune into them and I ask for your show a little less fear. What card can inspire as many people as possible listening into this show to have a little bit less fear and create positive change in their lives in the world?
I love it. Thank you.
The card that I pulled is number 12 in the deck. And the message that I have been writing here is greater than yourself. Conscious excellence is about connecting to that which is greater than yourself. Breathe, connect, and then act for the good of all. And I think we've already been.
We have. This is exactly what we were talking about. Talk about alignment.
I'll take a picture of it and send it to you, Dr.
I love it.
But when I'm tuning into it, which I would, if I'm sitting with a person in a session, I will do that. So anybody listening into this show, just take what you can use, because it's meant for people listening to A Little Less Fear with Dr. Lino. When I tune into this card, conscious excellence is about connecting to that which is greater than yourself. The thing is, I need to correct that word, greater than yourself. Connect to that which is greater within yourself. Because we are connecting to our greatness. We truly connect.
Yes. The greater within ourselves, not than ourselves, because we already have greatness.
We have greatness. We hold greatness. Every particle is connected to the divine, to the universe, and to one another. So whether we want it or not, we're all connected, and we're all great with what we hold. So I would like to say that this is what comes to me as I'm holding this card and reading this card for you, is to please everybody be reminded that you hold so much greatness no matter who you are. So starting with that every second, every moment in your day, or even just starting your day reminding yourself, I hold greatness, I matter, I'm here for a reason, that's when it all starts. Then you're here, you're born here for something, not only for you and your purpose and your path, but you're here for the greatness on this very planet. You were born to be here in this very time in history. And if you've gone through struggle, if you're sitting in the midst of challenges right now and you're like, how do I get out of this? How am I supposed to live with this situation? Or if there's any sort of struggle in your life, whatever it may be, just know that when we are in struggle, we don't see how we get stronger. Because in struggle, there's nothing worse than hear what doesn't kill you gets you stronger. Because that's the
Right.
most spiteful thing you can say to anybody who is struggling.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
that very moment, they're suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So what they need is your healing words, the encouragement, the help. So whatever you can do to allow yourself to understand that you are not meant to struggle for a lifetime, but there will be struggle in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll all have probably the same amount of struggle, just given to us in different ways. And sometimes the stronger we are, the struggle have to be harder to change us.
Yes.
So we don't know why we're being given the struggle that we are, but there will be struggle. Nobody is exempt. And the past 7 years have been extremely hard for conscious visionaries, intuitive people. And so just know that this too will pass. And whatever happens, breathe, connect to that which is greater than yourself, connect to that which is great within yourself. Allow every breath to strengthen you into your own greatness. And if you're
I
at the moment
love this.
struggling at all, it's the same thing. If you're not struggling at all and you're connecting to that which is greater than yourself and within yourself, you see that power that will exude and explode and quantum shift your life, your performance, and your impact. There is no one who is exempt for the power of this as well. So it's both ways. Like, no matter how you apply this, your greatness, your trust in your greatness, trust in your worth, trust that your matter will alleviate where you are and bring you into another mindset that will change everything.
I love this. Trust in your greatness, trust in your worth. I love it. I would love to share a poem that I wrote dedicated to this energetic, vibrational channel that both you and I are on, and which I just love. And so just thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for being on A Little Less Fear podcast, for sharing your wisdom, your light of love, and your divinity. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It's a true blessing. Okay, so this poem here, One Nation. One nation under God, indivisible with justice for all, rings true for those seeking a connective whole, indivisible meaning not divided. Under God, the energy of love, the energy of unconditional, is that of which rings true to my heart when I think and feel of a nation together, holding hands in the face of adversity, to welcome and not dismiss, to ignite passion and gratitude with neighbors, and to hold hands watching the same sunrise under the same blanket of stars at night as one. Thank you so much. Where can our viewers, our watchers, and our listeners get a hold of your books or get a hold of you should they need to?
Thank you for that beautiful
Oh,
poem.
thank you so much for receiving it.
It's amazing. It's very relevant right now. And
Very relevant. Yes, definitely.
well, there's a few things. I am always trying to make appointments so everybody can book sessions with me, private sessions, individual sessions. I open up new ones every week or every second week so that I don't have a long waiting list for the individual sessions, because I want everybody to have equal opportunity to have those sessions. they can be booked through my website, just on the contact page. Also for speeches, for workshops, either online or in real life. So everybody's welcome to contact me. We will get back to you to try and find a way to assist you. If we
What is your website, Christel?
Christel Rosenkilde Christensen.com. So if you go to the contact page, you'll just...
Yeah, and this is also in the show notes for those that are watching and listening. All of this information is also on the show notes. But it's Christel Rosenkilde Christensen, as in CHRISTL ROSENKILDE, CHRISTIN and SON, correct?
SEN.
SEN, Christensen. Okay, great. Thank you. .com.
I also written a book about my work with case studies in and talking about energy, talking about it from a personal leadership perspective, but also worldly leadership, and all different cases from top athletes to executives to entrepreneurs to families, how I've helped in different ways with the mindset that you heard throughout this show. I am also, you can buy that on my website as well in the shop, where you can also find guided meditations for your own energy, but also there's, right now, there's an important meditation called Speak Up for Change. So you can connect to your life purpose where you are now. I believe that our life purpose changes many times throughout a lifetime. So you can always go there for a guided meditation. I do individual meditations if people want their own. I do that for business.
I love that.
For individuals. I do for businesses. I do monthly guided speeches, motivational speeches for the entire companies where I go in and touch upon their vision and their people and their impact. And I'm in the book Demystifying Mediumship that talks very much about how I apply the mediumistic ways, the spiritual ways, my intuitive guidance, how I grew up with it and how I apply it. There is some of the stories with me flying on private jets and all the things that some people want to hear. But that's not everything I do. I'm a single mother, and my everyday life look like most people, I think, much of the time. So everybody's welcome to contact me through my website, and I'll try and help you as much as I can. I'm always humbled when people reach out. I need everybody to know that, because you're all so important and you all matter more than you know.
Thank you so much, Christel. And as you know, you matter, and you matter so much that I'm just so grateful and blessed to have had connected with you. Christel Rosenkilde Christensen here on A Little Less Fear podcast. Looking forward to staying in touch with you, and I'm looking forward to voting in the next couple of weeks. Thank you so much for sharing your love.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.